Once upon a time there was a sweet little girl who lived in a village near the forest. Everyone loved her, especially her grandmother, who made her a beautiful red cloak with a hood. The girl loved it so much that she wore it everywhere, earning her the name Little Red Riding Hood. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother asked her to take a basket of food to her grandmother, who was sick and lived deep in the forest. "Remember," her mother warned, "go straight to grandmother's house and don't talk to strangers." Little Red Riding Hood promised and set off on her journey. As she walked through the forest, she met a sly wolf. "Good day, Little Red Riding Hood," he said, with a toothy grin. "Where are you going?" Remembering her mother's warning but feeling polite, she replied, "I'm going to visit my grandmother, who is ill." The cunning wolf had an idea. "Why don't you pick some flowers for your grandmother? I'm sure she would love them." Little Red Riding Hood thought this was a wonderful idea and wandered off the path to gather flowers. The wolf, knowing a shortcut, hurried to grandmother's house. When the wolf arrived, he knocked on the door. "Who is it?" called grandmother. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood," the wolf mimicked in a high voice. Grandmother, believing it was her granddaughter, told him to come in. The wolf pounced and gobbled her up in a single gulp. Then he put on her nightgown, cap and glasses, and climbed into bed, waiting for Little Red Riding Hood. A short while later, Little Red Riding Hood arrived, her arms full of flowers. She knocked on the door. "Who is it?" asked the wolf, trying to sound like grandmother. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood." "Come in, dear," the wolf said, trying to hide his excitement. Little Red Riding Hood entered the cottage and noticed something strange about her grandmother. "Grandmother, what big ears you have," she said. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," the wolf replied. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said next. "All the better to see you with, my dear," the wolf answered. "Grandmother, what big teeth you have," Little Red Riding Hood exclaimed. "All the better to eat you with," growled the wolf, leaping out of bed. He chased Little Red Riding Hood around the cottage, but just as he was about to catch her, a hunter who had been passing by heard the commotion and burst into the cottage. The hunter quickly subdued the wolf, freeing grandmother from his belly. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother were so grateful to the hunter. The hunter, in turn, warned Little Red Riding Hood never to stray from the path again. From that day on, Little Red Riding Hood remembered her mother's advice and never spoke to strangers. She learned the importance of staying on the path and keeping her promises. And they all lived happily ever after.